Hello and welcome to a new Google Sheets video in Practical Sheets. Today we're going to do part 2 of our inventory CRUD system, where from a single form sheet here, we could easily insert not only purchases like we did in the last video, but also products, also sales. And each one will have its message. If it was created, it has its own validation. Here we added some more variables. We did a bit of cleanup in the code, and now we could insert very easily products. We can insert purchases, we can insert sales. So it's still, this is a work in progress because we still cannot, for example, edit products from here, but I think we advanced a lot. So we had the 3 buttons, the 3 messages. We can select which of the fields are mandatory. For example, here we decided that these 2 were not mandatory. So if I don't fill this out, it doesn't matter, but these 3 are mandatory. The same here and the same here. We also did a change in this dropdown so that we can only select from products that have been purchased in the past and not from the entire library of products as we can do here. And in this dropdown, even though we can select an album, the idea is that we can also insert new text and it won't be a problem, okay? So that we can easily insert new products. I hope you like it. I know you like it. So before moving on, just inviting you to subscribe to the channel or to go to my Patreon page where you can download easily the template of these and the 70-80 videos we have in the channel. And you can ask me things in the Patreon, and if there are things that are not working, and I try to answer as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, and let's begin. So we are going to do the same thing we did for input, but for output, so that we can insert not only purchases, but sales. So we can do it in the same horrible dashboard that I want to improve. So first, I definitely don't like this image. I'm going to insert a new image, or maybe just a drawing, you know. I'm not such a fan of drawings, but let's do it. Here, register purchase, something like that. A nice font. And we could have some nice thing as a background. Send to back. And the text, let's put it white. Yeah, it's not that bad. Save. It looks nicer. So I'm going to add 3 columns to the right. And let's paste all of these. Add another column to the right, and let's format it. There are 2 things we could do. We could leave 1 message for each form, or we could do 1 global message for each. So for now, let's leave 1 message box and let's keep separated all the forms. Let's edit this. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to paste this registered purchase, and I'm going to change it for register sale. I'm going to make it a bit smaller so I can select the background, and let's do maybe a blue. Okay, this is nice. Now let's go to our code. And we're going to copy this function, and we're going to paste it down, and we're going to call this add sale. So the data will come from the same sheet forms, but it will go to a new one that it will be called output. So I'm going to create this new sheet. I'm going to say duplicate output. We can delete all of this. Product units and date should be fine. And here I'm going to change this for output. And here we can now change this. You can see that my output product is in E1, the units are in E2, and the date is E3. So I'm going to change this for E1, E2, and E3. And the message box will be in E5. So here I'll just change this for E5. And here I think everything else should work the same. So let's save. and let's try it out. Given that this is a copy of the last file, I'm going to be asked for some permissions the first time. So let's register first a new purchase. I'm going to purchase Pink Floyd's The Wall on February 23rd, 2 units. Let's see if this continues to work, the validation without putting the units. Remember that we did a validation that if any of the fields are not set, then this message will come. Now here I haven't put my function, so let's assign the script. To this one it will be at purchase, and to this one will be at sale. Remember, you put it without parentheses. Try it again. Register purchase the first time. I'm going to need authorization. Let's go to my account, advanced, go to inventory. Here it says continue only if you trust the developer. You are the developer, so if you trust yourself. Okay, let's do it again. So here, the wall Pink Floyd, let's go to input. Doesn't come out, but I have an error here that I have my messages, so it will be nice if the messages are cleared up. Maybe when we open the file, for example, it would be nice. So let's go here, and we can do another function that it's called clear messages. I will only need these two lines, the worksheet and the form spreadsheet, and then I'm going to say ssform dot get range. So the first message is in this B5 and clear count. And I'm going to copy this line and the second message in E5. So we have it here. And finally, I'm going to create a trigger, a simple trigger. On open, it's called. You should put this exact name of the function, and there I'm going to call this function clear messages. So every time the worksheet opens, it will call this function. So let's save and let's try it out. Let's refresh this. Let's go to form. We're going to refresh. So now I don't have a message. Actually, I should remove these borders that are horrible. Know what I was thinking. The message is up to you. The message could be below the button or above the button. It's not a problem. Now let's try it again to not put the units, and I have my message. I could then format this much better. This is not a nice color, but okay, we can do it later. Now let's put 2 and let's register the purchase, and apparently it was successful. Let's go to input and it's done. Now let's sell one of these, the wall Pink Floyd. Here is one possibility, is that maybe we should be only able to sell the products that are bought, not all the products in your catalog, because maybe there are some type of businesses where you can buy without having inventory, because maybe you are going to import it, but in most cases you need to have inventory to sell. So let's, again, we're not going to put the units. Let's register, and now I have the problem here. And if I will sell one and I register the sale, then apparently it did. And let's go here and in. So let's try to change this data validation. Let's go data. Actually, I could hit right click and then go to my dropdown. And in my dropdown, I'm going to change. This is no longer product, say, to A, but it will be, let's delete this. Let's go to input A2 to A. Let's hit OK. Let's hit done. There are one other dropdowns with the same properties. You want to make changes to all of them, just this instance, because if not, it would change also this one. But this one, I do want to be on my product list, but this one, only the ones I have something in my inventory, the ones I have bought. In a more advanced occasion, we could modify this so that it actually brings the ones that have inventory. Even if I have purchased them in the past, maybe they have 0 inventory right now, they shouldn't be able to sell, but we could do this later. Okay, so now I have my purchases, my sales, and finally I want to be able to include products. So it should be very similar to this. I'm going to insert some columns to the left. I'm going to copy all of this. And let's see our products. What do we need in our product? We need product, album, artist, released, and genre. So let's go to our form. We don't need these units and we don't need the date. So it will be product, album, artist, I'm going to copy this down, released, and jump. You can delete all of these columns, Control Alt minus. I have some design work to do, but I can do it later. So I'm going to leave this drop down for now, but I'm only going to change one thing. I'm going to right click and drop down. And I'm going to say drop down from arrange, but down here at the end of the options, I'm going to go to advanced options and say show warning. So it will leave me insert new product. Why are you leaving the drop down if you just want to include new products? Because in the future, I may want to update products. Maybe the artist was wrong, the genre changed, an option, the price, when we include the price, so that I could change the properties of this product from here. So if I want to change, I would select and it would bring me the properties and I would change them. This will be the update part of the CRUD system. For now, we have been doing 2 videos just on create. So I told you I was going to do a CRUD system with inventory, but for now, we are just doing the create part. So here, remember we did some validations before. So I'm going to just delete them all. Maybe the date one, I will move this over here so that I have my date validation, and the artist, album, and genre, I'm not going to need any validation. So let's remove him here, B1 here. Let's go to this rule. This changed a lot from how it was before. So now it's more similar to Excel where you have rules. So I'm just going to remove from the rule this B2 form. It's not as easy as removing the validation of that cell. This changed. And date is valid also. I'm going to click here. I changed it to before, so it works well. Let's hit done, and that's it. Now let's go to our code, extension, subscript. We're going to copy this function. As you see, these functions repeat themselves a lot. So in the future, for being a more efficient code, we could use these functions, have just one function that adds, and I would give in some arguments, some different arguments, but let's not waste a lot of time on this. It's just a proposition for the future. For now, I'm going to copy and let's paste and call this add product. So in add product, again, the data comes from forms, but now it will go to product. And now let's change this. Actually, all of my other things changed, if you realized. So a thing we can do is create some global variables or global constants. For example, I know, so it is easier to change when you do all these changes, or where you get the template and change the cells. It's much easier to change. For example, here it says forms. In my system, this is called forms, but maybe you want to call it however you want to call it. So I'm going to create a constant called forms sheet name, if you want. So it's very clear. And the form sheet's name will be, in my case, it's forms, but in your case will be whatever you want. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And I can also paste it here. And I can also paste it here. Let me see, also here. And you could say, okay, why don't we copy this and paste it as a global variable? When you have much more complex methods as global, then maybe you may have some problems in the future. For now, it's better just to remove as global variables or global constants everything that is a name, that is a reference. For example, this is good. Actually, this changed right now when we added these columns. So I'm going to have 3 messages. The first message will be in B7. The second message will be in E5, and the other message will be in H5. So let's add them as constants. So let's call this cell message, cell product message. This will be B7. And now we can do cell input message and cell output message. So input message will be E5 and output message will be H5. And now I can change this B5 that was when I deleted my product, my input message. I could change it for cell product message or cell input message better. And I could change this E5 that before was the message of the output for cell output message, and I'm missing one for the new created one for product. So I could do one here and change this for product. So if in the future you change this for C8 or C9 or whatever, you just change it here. So now let's go and see if I have to change it elsewhere. So here for the product, I'm going to put cell product message, and the same here. And in my input, in my add purchase, I will change this B5 for cell input message, and here the same. And in the other one for the sale, I will change this for cell output message. Now I have these other names, this output and this input. But also as forms, I could copy this. I have my form sheet name, but I can have also my input sheet name and my output sheet name. I'm going to change this for input and this for output. And I'm missing the product one, product sheet name. And in my case, it's called very simple product. But the idea is that in your case, you could name it whatever you want and you just change it here. So here will be product sheet name. Down here, I'm going to change this input for input sheet name, and output, I'm going to change it for output sheet name. Finally, I'm just missing these 3 cells. So they changed when I added new columns. So let's do this. So here in my product, I have product, album, artist, released, and genre. So I could do it like this. Cell, product, because this is my product form. Then I have, and this will be B1. Then I have product artist, that is B2. And I have 3 more. First was album, then artist, then released, and then genre. So album, artist, released, and genre. B3, B4, B5. And the same for the other ones. So this will be input, input product, input units, input date. And it's E1, E2, E3. And now we're missing output, but it's the same product, units, and date. And it will be H1, H2, H3. And now we just need to change it here. So for the product, I will change this for product. Let's start with product. Artist was the first one. First is album. Then release and genre. And let's change this accordingly. Product, album, artist, released, and genre. And finally here, let's see, the order I think is the same. Product, album, artist, release, and genre is the same. So here will be product, album, artist, released, and genre. And here it's very important to know which are the mandatory fields. In my case, I think the mandatory will be these 3. Maybe release and genre is not so important right now. Product, album, or artist. So product, album, and artist. So if you leave released or genre without filling, it's not a problem. But these 3 should be mandatory. And here, down here, we're going to change this. The B1 for input, cell input product, cell input units, and cell input date. And down here, I'm just missing one thing. I know we did a very big parenthesis, but this is just to make the code more robust. So this is cell output product, cell output units, and cell output date. Okay, now it's ready. So now it should work. Let's save it again and let's input a new product. So here we have a problem, but it's specific for my example. Now it's coming back to me that here I'm repeating myself. Here I put Gorillas and the name of the album. And then I have to put the name of the album and the artist. Maybe I could do some formulas in the future, but for now, I'm not going to worry too much because I know that most of you are not going to sell albums. It's not a problem. It's just an example. Gorillas, Cracker Island. The album is Cracker Island. And the artist is Gorillas. Okay, maybe I could have a similar format here and here. And I haven't assigned the button yet. So I'm going to add a couple of rows. I'm going to go to this drawing, edit. I'm going to copy it again, select all, Control C, save and close, insert, drawing. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to register product here. Let's change our color. Let's do a green one, a bit darker. Yeah, that's it. Save and close. Let's bring it down here and let's assign this first function add product. Let's copy it and let's paste it here. 3 points, assign a script. Let's paste it. Okay. And let's try it. Register the product. Gorillas, Cracker Island, Gorillas. Let's see. Should have it here, down here. Perfect. Now let's do another one. Pink, Trustful Pink, 2023. So let's add everything. So Trustful by Pink, and the album is Trustful. The artist is Pink, released 2023. It should be a date. So let's say it's 15th of February of 2023. Let's see what validation I have here. So let's go to more selections, data validation. This is cell B4 and I have it here in date is valid. So I don't know why it's not working. Maybe because I'm in with the US format. So this should be February 15, 2023. And January, this is swap. Let's register. Let's go to product and apparently it works. Actually, this is a year. This shouldn't be a date, but a year. So I could change this again. Let's go to my data validation. I'm going to remove the before from this. Done. And I'm going to create a new data validation. In B4, I'm going to say that is a number greater than maybe 1,800. I don't think there are records from before that. 1,900 and 1,950 maybe. Doesn't matter. I'm going to change it for now here. That's it. Apparently it's working fine. Let's just do a bit of design and now we can have these 3 things are working really well. Now what I need to do in the following lesson, because this is gone too long, it's to create my field sheet, and then maybe I could create, maybe I want to change, for example, what I just did, change the year. If the idea is that I could select from here my product and it will bring automatically the information. So we could do this later. I'm going to just clean this up a bit to finish, because I think this was a really bad idea to put this in this green. It was horrible. I'm going to change it. It looks nicer this way actually. And let's remove all of that. Could create some separation here. I'm going to increase the letter here and center it and change the font. Let's just do some separation, very neat here. I'm going to a smaller font. so that I can see the 3 forms at the same time. Much nicer. It's still not very nice, but it's better than last time, I think. So now this is working for the product, for the purchases, and for the sale. And we improved the code a bit. It's much more readable, it's much more nicer, it's much more robust. We could do some comments for the next one. Thank you so much, and see you next time.